guys, I'm Laura Vitale, and this episode of Laura in the Kitchen, I'm throwing it to Naples, and I'm going to show you how we make a beautiful seafood salad that our Christmas Eve just would not be complete without. This is the way my father's been doing it for years. This is where I've seen my nonna, my aunts, everyone in both sides of my families make it, so it has a very special place in my heart, and I hope that you love it as much as we do. If you're not following me on Instagram, please do. My handle is just Mrs. Vitale. I have a link for you down in the description box. And I say that because I will be sharing with you all about the Feast of Fishes for Christmas Eve there. I'll break down lots of recipes, lots of beautiful photos, lots of information so that you can have a beautiful seafood feast yourself. Whether for 4 people or 6 people, it doesn't matter. It's got to be fabulous. So let's start with the poaching liquid. So what we do is we poach our seafood, right? You can grill your seafood, but it has a different flavor altogether, which is lovely, but that's not what we want, because when we do seafood at Christmas, on Christmas Eve, we do have a grilled seafood course as well. So the seafood salad is cold, but you gotta poach all your seafood. So we're gonna make a beautiful poaching liquid, which obviously you'll need lots of water. Then you're gonna need limone. Ice to squeeze and dump in, some peppercorns, and a couple of cloves of garlic. Don't chop them, just sort of smash and throw them in there. This is one of those dishes that I don't improve it, I don't change it. I use this particular seafood combo because it's what we've always used and what we love, but it's really fabulous. So if you grew up with the seafood feast on Christmas Eve, like in an Italian household, I'm talking like Napoli, then you know there's not exactly 7 seafood dishes. There's probably more than that, but it is all about courses. And again, follow me on Instagram. I will break it all down for you because it is pretty fabulous. A good pinch of salt. And now all we're going to do is wait for this to come to a gentle boil, okay? In the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and grab my seafood. We are gonna have to steam the mussels separately. I don't like to add mussels into boiling water, although you can. I don't do it that way because my nonna doesn't do it that way. And for the seafood, I use mussels, I will use shrimp, octopus, calamari. That's what I've used my whole life. You can also use some scallops. You can add a little bit of crab if you want to. These also tend to be things that I can find easily at my local seafood shop, which is wonderful. So I'm just gonna wait for this to come to a gentle boil. I will grab my calamari. I will meet you back here, and then we'll start poaching and then get them all dressed. Okay, while my poaching liquid is coming to a simmer and just gently simmering there for a few minutes, we're going to go ahead and steam the mussels because, like I said, we're going to steam them separately, and then I take them out of the shell and just incorporate them into my salad. So good. So mussels, I buy them from a fish monger, right? And they always come clean, de-beard. So that little strip that's usually on the side of the mussel, it's already pulled away for me. But if it's not, make sure you do that yourself. Make sure that you do that yourself. So I do them just like my nonna does. A tiny bit of water in the bottom of a pot. You're gonna go ahead and add your mussels. Well, like any other shellfish, for example, this shell is broken, so I'm gonna discard that. Any that are open, that will not close if you gently tap, right? Say this doesn't close, I'm gonna leave there for a couple seconds, then you're gonna wanna discard them. And then when they come out, once they're cooked, it's the opposite. If any of them have stayed shut, discard them. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. They only take a few minutes to steam open. They're beautiful. I love raw mussels. I grew up eating raw mussels with my nonna and my uncles, and it's just one of those things that it's nostalgic. See a little bit of a beard right there? Just take that right off. Otherwise, they are clean and they're beautiful. These 2 stayed open, so they're gonna get discarded. And I'm just gonna put a lid on and let those steam a few minutes until they're open. Then I'm going to drain them and set them aside. Let's talk shrimp and octopus here while I have you. This is just beautiful, like nice large shrimp, peeled and deveined. I'm going to go ahead and poach them like this, and then I will cut them once they come out of the poaching liquid. For the octopus, you typically will have 2 options at your major grocery store or at a fishmonger, a seafood shop, whatever you want to call it. Abishkiri. You will either find it raw, fresh or frozen, or you will find it cooked, fresh or frozen. This is cooked. You can always typically tell by the color. Raw is that really dark gray color, and then once it's cooked, it's got this purple hue, white interior. It's lovely. So mine is obviously cooked. This is what I found that looked really good. So all I need to do is poach it for a few minutes, basically to heat it through. If you were working with a raw octopus, you would need to poach it for a couple of hours until it slowly cooks and gets tender and delicious. So that's gonna vary depending on what you find and depending what looks good to you that day. So if it's cooked, it just needs a couple of minutes to heat through. If it's raw, it's gonna need a couple of hours. So go ahead and think ahead. This is the type of thing that's really great to make in the morning. If you're in an Italian household like mine, we don't start eating until like 8:30 at night on Christmas Eve. That's just the way we roll. And then we eat until like 3 o'clock in the morning and we start over again the next morning. So I would do this in the morning, let it sit all day and be fabulous. But even an hour in the refrigerator will do wonderful things. So if you're going to be working with a raw octopus, you can also poach the octopus the day before. And then the morning of, when you're getting ready to make the salad, do this exact same process by just heating it through. So those are your options. I'm gonna go get my calamari, it's in the back. My poaching liquid is coming to a boil, and then we roll. There they are. Mussels are done, and they smell fabulous. Oh, some things just smell like your childhood. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Don't do what I'm doing. Don't do what I'm doing, but it's okay. Pretend you're home with me. Oh, they're fabulous. It is so worth going to a good fish store or fish shop. I don't even know what it's called here in America. We call them avishkiri. It's so worth it because the quality you get is incredible. That I could eat a whole pan of, but I'm going to restrain myself just a little. My poaching liquid is up to a good gentle bubble. I start with the shrimp. Put them right in. They only take everything just takes a couple of minutes if your octopus is already cooked. Just takes a couple of minutes. That's why I've got a bowl with a colander, because I'm going to go ahead and fish the shrimp out into my colander. So I do shrimp, y calamar, and then lastly I do the octopus, simply because the octopus can stain the water a little with the purple, a purple hue. So I just do them last minute. Not that it matters, but that's just the way I do it. So all I'm going to do is poach my seafood in stages, put it in my colander. In the meantime, I'm going to finely chop some celery and parsley, add it to a bowl, and then I will meet you back here once all my seafood is cooked. I'm going to get the meat out of the shells for the mussels, and that's pretty much it. Easy peasy, but I'm telling you what, home cooking at its very best. Seafood has been poached. The octopus is still finishing up in there. Obviously, once you fish everything out, you're going to get all the stuff that you added in there to flavor your poaching liquid, but it's fine because you're going to go through it and chop everything up. So to reiterate, I have taken the shrimp, added them to my poaching liquid, cooked them a couple minutes, took them out. I did the same thing with the calamari. I put them in there a couple minutes and took them out. Just put them in the colander. I went ahead and took all the meat out of the shells from the mussels, and I put those in there as well. And then I went ahead and finally diced up some celery. I chopped up some parsley, and I crushed a few cloves of garlic and just placed them into this large bowl. And now all I need to do is to chop my seafood. This calamari was quite small and tender, so I'm only going to probably just cut this in thirds because I don't want them so small that I can't taste them, basically. But real meaty, lovely, really, really lovely stuff. Not already cleaned for me because I never want to go through the trouble of having to clean my own calamari. Trust me, it is not a fun job, so make sure you always buy it clean. And now all I'm going to do is wait for the octopus to come out, chop my shrimp and my calamari, and add everything to my bowl. Then we dress it, and then we're pretty much done. Everything's chopped up. I went ahead and chopped my shrimp. I went ahead and chopped my octopus. I did reserve some shrimp and some mussels in their shell just for decorations when I go ahead and dress the whole thing. All this needs now is a really good pinch of salt. really good extra virgin olive oil. You can tell by the color. You want a really good deep extra virgin olive oil. This is pretty much the thing that's going to flavor everything. And you notice, I don't know if you did, but have you noticed that I placed my seafood when it was quite warm on top of the celery and the parsley and the garlic? That was intentional, because I want that heat to essentially very gently wake up those flavors. And so while you do that, when you do that, you really have the scent of the celery and the parsley and the garlic, but not in an overpowering way. So now you just give everything a really good stir. I mean, you know it's going to be gorgeous. Look at that. That is Natale. That is La Vigilia a Casa di Nonna. It is just everything my heart desires and so much more. Just take a little bite. That's perfect. I will serve this with a little bit of greens alongside, a little arugula, a little something for green, some wedges of lemon, my kotze, my shrimp. I will show you a picture of what it looks like when it's all done. It's magnificent. It's beautiful. It's easy. I'm just going to cover it, pop it into the fridge until we're ready to eat dinner tonight. Hope you enjoy spending time with me. Go to laurainthekitchen.com to get the written recipe. If you grew up eating seafood salad, I would love to hear your take on it. I would love to hear how you make it. I know some people like to add, I know some people's households add pickled giardiniera or vinegar or things like that, which I think is really wonderful and delicious. Not how we make it, but it's delicious nonetheless. I just feel like Christmas, holidays, especially in 2020, traditions is like the most important thing, so I don't dare change it, but it's one of my favorite things in the world. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop this in the fridge until we're ready to eat. I hope you have enjoyed spending time with me. LauraInTheKitchen.com has got you covered with the recipe. As I mentioned, please follow me on Instagram if you don't. We're about to have a lot of fun, and I'll see you next time.